Now, in recent times, there's a lot of variations on the model view controller, including model view controller. But one of the variations that's becoming fairly popular is the action domain responder, the ADR pattern. So in the ADR pattern, the action is the logic that connects the domain to the responder, so that's very similar to the controller. It uses the request input to interact with the domain and pass the domain back to the responder. The domain is the logic to manipulate the domain, the session, the application, the environment data, and the modifying state and persistence as needed. So here's where most of the work happens. The responder is the logic to build an HTTP respond or response description that deals with the body content and templates and views and headers and so forth. Now, when I looked into this, it seemed that Model View Controller has the sense that for this interface sitting in front of me, there will be an input that sends the entirety of the interface to me, and I would then look at the entirety of the interface and take some action. But it's oriented toward a single screen where you have a single common action. Whereas Action Domain Responder is dealing with a circumstance where the interface can have multiple different actions. Can think of all the different number of buttons and the different, a multi-screen web page or something of that nature, where there could be multiple different actions sent in by the user interface. And here we need to break it up in terms of what action am I dealing with? Not what was all the data that I was sent, but what action am I dealing with? So this is where it seems to be, this is where this pattern has come from. So we have action that takes some action on the domain. The domain does what it does and tells the responder what to do. The responder then assembles the response and sends it out to the interface. So the response could be a message sequence or a HTTP or all sorts of things. All right. Now I've got a note there from the person who publicized this as a pattern, and his comment was that he thinks that the ADR pattern more closely fits what they actually do. So it's probably worthwhile to think of it in those terms. There's a great deal of it. You can find a great deal of information from Paul Jones on his page where he fully describes the pattern. But it's a slightly different view from Model View Controller, and this one is Action Domain Responder.